Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme: Celtic looking to upset the odds in Paris. Chris Cadden says Celtic are not invincible ahead of the League Cup final. Niasse becomes the first Premier League player to be banned retrospectively for diving. Yeah, just a few of the talking points Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, will be discussing today. It's Wednesday. Our bookroom guest, as ever, delighted to have Barry Ferguson here with us to talk football for the next hour. Let's have a look at the back pages of the newspapers to see what's hogging the headlines in sport. The Daily Record: you can't buy history. A little dig from Brendan Rodgers to Paris Saint-Germain with all their millions. Of course, a picture there of Neymar laughing. I don't hold a grudge against Celtic. He's not exactly flavour of the month for the Celtic fans. And also a little sidebar there on Neil's £4 million to stay with Northern Ireland. And the Sun, again, that dig, and 6 years no thanks. This is a story saying that Michael O'Neill's set to snub that 6-year offer, and Murty is warning the Rangers strikers to get their act together. And the Mail, and you can see there just a question: is Neymar's Paris love affair cooling off? And the Courier: raise the bar even higher, says Laszlo. This is the Dundee United manager off the back of that convincing win against Falkirk, wanting the United players to just keep that performance level up and drive on towards the Championship and back to the Premier League. So there you have it. That's the morning headlines. It's a case of everybody now just trying to get a run on the Michael O'Neill story, Ruffy, because of the money on offer, the extension to the deal being offered by the Northern Irish FA, and then I think we're in a situation where, you know, we're just adding two and two together with every job that becomes available, throwing his name there. Yeah, but he'll certainly know what's happening. You know, I'm sure people have been talking to him. He's probably got an agent who's obviously talking to people as well. So, in all credit to him, he's not saying very much about it himself. You know, he's keeping it pretty close. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the biggest debate is club or national football. You know, that is the decision he's got to make. You know, he hasn't been at a big club, so that might persuade him to go down that road. But maybe he likes international football, 8 games a year, you know. But he hasn't come out and said what his preference is, so I think we just have to wait and see. Yeah, well, it's a difficult time. I think he can keep his cards close to his chest. Difficult because he, in the last couple of days he's lost his mother. But when he eventually has to say something, I think he can just wait and see what's in the market. And as Ruffy mentioned there, maybe there's a club versus country debate, Barry. I think if he was in the running for, let's just say, West Brom, I don't think there's any debate. I think you go to the Premier League.
Yeah, well, he's a man in demand, obviously, with the job he's done the last 4 years in Northern Ireland. If West Brom come calling, that's what every manager wants to manage, is in the Premier League. His salary will be trebled, even if he goes down there, and he'll have millions to go and spend. But it's his decision. It's whether he wants to go back, go to club football, or stay at international, as rough as it is, when there's only 7 or 8 games a season. But I think it'd be crazy to turn a Premier League club down. Yeah. Okay, we will wait and see how that story develops over the next couple of days and weeks. It's not too far away from the kick-off now, Paris Saint-Germain against Celtic. They're certainly going to be up against it. Brendan Rodgers yesterday, speaking ahead of this one, clearly had a couple of digs. Obviously not happy with Paris Saint-Germain. He feels blatantly flouting the FIFA fair play and the UEFA rules with regards to you can only spend, balancing the books, what you take in, what you pay out. They've made a mockery of that situation. And he says you can't buy the history. You can't buy the history, Ruffy, but you can certainly create it with that sort of money. Yeah, you certainly can. And in all fairness, they are an up-and-coming team. I know they've decided to start splashing the cash. And you're right, you know, the fair play thing that came in, you know, baffles everybody. But they're there, and they are the team to watch. They've got fantastic players. And I'm sure, again, tonight, it'll be a fantastic game. Yeah, I mean,
I know that Celtic players have to go in there with confidence. Has there ever been a game that you went into with your team and you looked at your teammates and thought, even with all the guys that you trust, I think we're going to get battered?
Yeah, 10 years ago with Scotland. No, I looked round about. I had good teammates and good players round about us, but at that time France were in the top 3 in the world. We were underdogs. People thought we would go over to Paris and they would take 4 or 5 off us. So it's a similar situation Celtic are going into. But listen, they've got nothing to lose. I don't know what way he'll go and play. It seems that he'll just go and play the way that he does back here in domestic football.
Well, let me pick up on that, because you said there 10 years ago now. Fortunately, you were there. We were there at the time, watching the game, but it's a different thing. It's a manager there who said they're a better team than us. They've got better technical players than us. We're going to defend, and then there'll be a moment when we get a chance.
Yeah, that's the way that we set up. That's the way that Alec McLeish worked on the training ground. 4-5-1. Just be compact. They're going to have at least 70-75% possession of the ball. We need to get our heads around the fact that we're not going to have a lot of the ball. We worked ever so hard, and as you says, we get 1 or 2 chances, and that one, it wasn't even a chance for Faddy.
No, it was a screamer from out of nowhere.
30 yards, 35 yards. So
I think you're exaggerating with the second chance. I can't remember another one.
Well, I'll say that, it sounds good. It doesn't sound good if you've only had 1 attempt on goal. But we knew that was going to be the situation. We went over to play a French team who had world-class players. And it's similar with PSG. They've got world-class players. And listen, if Celtic go over there and they frustrate them, their fans might get on top of them. And they might become frustrated. You don't know, they could get a man sent off. So listen, anything can happen in a game of football.
Let me ask you that. You mentioned there about 10 years ago, and Scott Brown has alluded to that as well, about being able to just surprise a team if you're rank outsiders, the underdogs. Nobody expects you. I expect Celtic to lose by 3 or 4 goals tonight.
Yep.
I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong in a Scottish football sense, because if they come out with anything, I think people will be doing cartwheels.
I don't think the Celtic players are going to think that. I think they've got a great mentality just now. They'll think they can go over there and get something, and that's the way it should be. We went over there quietly in between and inside the 4 walls when we were speaking in 2007. We thought we could go over there and surprise, listen, not win the game, but maybe come away with a point.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mentality that Celtic have got at this moment in time. They've got the players who believe in themselves. Listen, domestically, they're flying at the moment. I know the last game against Paris, Paris went through them. I mean, Paris were different class that night. But listen, you don't know what could happen. You don't know.
Scott McDonald mentioned the fact that, at times though, people say, oh, close them down, but they're so good that when they start playing, you actually seem as if you're standing off them, but you're not. When you're a player at that time in 2007 of a certain standing, when you know you're up against players who don't let you lift your head, and you were a passer of the ball, I mean, how do you counter that? What should the Celtic players do tonight?
You've got a game plan, and you've got to go to the game plan that the manager puts out. Listen, I wanted to go and try and get the ball and play, but listen, we knew that they would have the vast majority of the possession, so we just sat back and let them play in front of us.
Do you think that's what Celtic should do?
Yeah, I think they'll have a better chance, but the way Brendan Rodgers goes about his business, I think he'll go over there the way that he plays domestically.
Yeah, that's where I think there's a hammering, Ruffy, because it's just holding on to the ball. I think he's maybe, as you have gradual progression, you build a team. When I look at the Celtic team that he's building for European football, I still think they're 2 or 3 short. For all the plaudits they receive and the Invincibles and the run they're on domestically at 64 games, I still think at that level you need 2 or 3 other specific players that I've been harping on about. You need a number 10 that can take it in difficult positions and then build and do something out of the ordinary. You need centre halves that, are commanding and can literally withstand anything that comes into the box. That's where I think Celtic's spine is still to be addressed.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, you can't kid yourself on, that's where the problems have been at this level. You know, basically they don't defend properly at this level because of the players they're up against. I don't think the boy Roberts wide and Sinclair on the other side help assist them as well. I don't think either of the two of them can defend and help the full-backs out. You've already identified the two centre-halves don't seem to be up to it at this level as well. And you just have to look at the goals. You just have to look at the goals in Germany. You have to look at the goals at Parkhead and the Paris game. They're all poor goals to lose at this level. And I mean, it's okay saying that these guys are much better, but you've got to be better organised. And I'm hoping that's what they're going to do tonight, because I keep saying that Celtic can't go about Europe getting hammered 5 and 6-0 every year. Yeah.
Briefly, do you think it would have an effect on them in the final, which we're going to talk about in the Motherwell camp next?
Depends what the score is. You know, I've said the other day there, I don't care who you are. If you're getting beat 5 and 6-0 and you get into a final, you have to start thinking about what's going on.
OK, if Celtic have got that job against Paris Saint-Germain, it's a similar problem for Motherwell as they get ready to take on Celtic in the Betfred Cup final. We'll discuss that next. I don't know how you could get the Stone Roses wrong. You need to have a long, hard look at yourself.
No, I'm not happy with myself.
Yeah. Still, 2 questions to redeem yourself. Some other news before we start to talk about the Betfred Cup final, because Motherwell have started the build-up with some of the players speaking ahead of the game on Sunday, which I'm really looking forward to. But before we talk about that, Kilmarnock have managed to get a signing in Yusuf Malumbu. Now, Steve Clarke, you know, as managers do, just say he was just training here, just using the facilities and getting himself fit, and suddenly they've been able to strike a deal with him. That's a good signing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what happens. You bring a manager of the calibre. You know, he's got contacts all over the place. He's been down in England for a long time. And he will identify, once he's been in at Kilmarnock and looked at the players he's got and the way they're playing, he'll look at players that he's been with or seen and identify that they're the guys that he wants to bring to Kilmarnock.
You see, when you get that calibre of player, this is where I think slowly but surely, when we get either investment in Scottish football or that you know, individual club investment where owners release that little bit extra cash, suddenly, you know, the standard goes up again, Barry. Although I have emphasised in this programme, I don't want to see a situation where we don't have good Scottish players coming through.
But I've played against him a few times when I was down the second time, when he was at West Brom. Yeah. Very good player. I've not seen him the last year or two. I don't know where he's been. I think he went to Norwich after West Brom. Good player, good experience, and guys like that have played at a top level only help the younger boys. But as you said, I would rather see a younger boy coming through, but I don't know if Kilmarnock have got any really young centre midfielders. Yeah,
he'll be a bonus for them. I don't see them being, not just because of Malumba, just because of Clarke and the way he's operating and some of the guys that are talking about how he operates. I don't see Kilmarnock being involved in the bottom end again.
No, I don't. He's obviously done really well, but what I don't get is it's the same players that Big Lee had, and they weren't performing for him, which makes me wonder. It's disappointing. I'm not just saying that because obviously he's a good friend, but to be fair to Steve Clarke, he has come in and he's got them. He's got them playing well. He's got them solid. They're not conceding many goals as well. So,
but with all due respect, Lee, of course, you've been pals with him. You know, sometimes people get. I felt as if Lee was thrust into that too early. You know, sometimes you get to that point where you've got to go through a learning curve of how to deal with certain situations. He's taken on a club where, quite simply, you know, they haven't exactly been your steady ship over the last 4 or 5 years.
I think if you ask him, Lee, he would have probably done it a bit different. He would have liked to have been in the background another year or two to get more experience. But listen, Kilmarnock have went through managers the last 4 or 5 years like nothing else. So I think, as you say, he did get thrust into it. In an ideal world, he would have probably wanted to wait another 1 or 2 years. But listen, he was man enough to take the job. He doesn't shy away from much, Lee. Just disappointed that he didn't do as well as I thought he would have done. But it's not just fault, that just doesn't fall on the manager. That's obviously the players are part to blame as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to you about that. We had Scott McDonald on the programme yesterday, and he did mention something to me which I think is more prominent now in football, and I wonder if you can expand on it, especially from your time at Clyde as well. He said, you know, experienced managers comes in, they can change things. You know, Ray McKinnon might have done it a certain way. Jabba Laszlo's come in and done it a different way. But more and more now, managers are actually dictating everything that should happen on the park. So players, you know, can no longer think for themselves. They can think to a degree, but it's more set out. It's more strategic now.
Well,
as a
100%, I think he's right. Like 10, 15 years ago, I'm talking like a full week's training. If you train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you would do a bit of shape on the Friday, and then you go into the game on the Saturday. Now I think more and more managers are having to start on the Monday, doing the shape and leading up to it. Now every manager does it different. I just think players now need led by the hand instead of them taking it upon themselves. But I agree with his. Don't normally agree with what Scott says.
yeah,
but,
absolutely.
No, I think he's spot on with that one.
Yeah. Roughly changed days from
I
your day.
mean, I'm 30, 40 years ago, you know, we're talking about wee Subbuteo board, you know, with tactics, you know, and moving people about, you know, and now you've got analysis, you've got, you know, sports science, you've got, you know, everything up on the wall, you know, and sitting for an hour. I mean, when we played, the managers just spoke to you individually and said, this is who you have to look out for, this is what your job is. But now, you know, it's really robotised now.
Yeah.
I did prefer that, like just the manager speaking to me instead of sitting. I don't know, obviously some players are different, and now the science behind it, the amount of stuff they've got, the video every single thing. You sit and you watch like 45 minutes to 60 minutes of a game, and you go through it, and you go through the tactical side of it. I just liked a limited amount of information, and that was me. I would go and do it. And back in the day when I started out, they would take you aside after the training session, 5 or 10 minutes spending you, and I found that more beneficial than sitting for 45, 60 minutes. Because I would switch off. Yeah, I would switch off after 10 minutes.
If it's clogging your head.
Yep.
I remember the great line that, you know, I think Graham Souness said he was in awe when he joined Liverpool. He was waiting for somebody to tell him ahead of the start of the game, you know, what do you want me to do? Where will I play here? You know, and eventually I think, you know, Joe Fagan or somebody came up to him or you know, some of the backroom team and said, we've signed you for a colossal amount of money. If we have to tell you what to do and where to play, you know, there's something wrong.
Yeah, there is a downside of not being in depth, and we went to play Sweden in a World Cup qualifier with Willie Orman. And we were all sitting around the table, and he said to Graham Souness, Graham, I want you to keep your eye out for the big blonde boy in their team. No, he's dangerous.
Yeah. Okay, so that narrows it down. Which reminds me, do you remember the World Cup where the Romanians all dyed their hair blonde?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you were working out the tactics?
Was that 90?
94, I think 94,
it was. I remember that.
A commentator's nightmare. Okay, what about the League Cup? Because if Celtic got a job in their hands with Paris Saint-Germain, Motherwell have got a real job in their hands. Peter Hartley mentioned yesterday that, you know, a lot of people are talking about Motherwell and their physicality. They are not going to change the way they play.
It's a contact sport, isn't it? Football. You don't go and play basketball if you want to play a non-contact sport. Do you know what I mean? It's listen, we're a physical team. If we try and play Celtic at their game, they're going to beat us. We got to play our game and being physical and getting onto second balls, being well organised, being well drilled. It's what we're about and what the gaffer takes pride in. So we're not going to change the way we are.
Well, that's a fair comment from him, because quite simply, if you've got to work out a way to beat Celtic and you don't have the special players, then you've got to work out a tactic.
No, I like the sound bites that are coming out with what you just said there. Listen, if they go toe-to-toe with Celtic and try and play them at football, passing the ball about, Celtic are going to run over the top of them. No, I don't get some of the criticism that Motherwell have been getting. They're physical teams, so what? They work to a formation. He's brought in certain players to play a certain way. And do you know what? See if it wins games, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, and Chris Cadden's come out, and again, you've got to love and admire his confidence. The young man basically said, you know, he doesn't understand what all the fuss is about Celtic and the Invincibles tag.
I don't know why everybody's building Celtic up to be unbelievable. Like, they're a good team, yes, but it's 11 men against 11 men at the end of the day. It's not played in paper, the game. It's played in the park. So we'll go out with a bit of confidence to go out and beat them at the end of the day. If we go out and do what we do, then, as I say, there's no reason why we can't.
Now, with that in mind, I have to say that they do have players that can cause Celtic problems as well. Ruffy, you've got to be fair on this. They've got players that can cause Celtic problems when they're on the ball. Everybody will look and say, okay, maybe Louis Moult's the main danger, but I think Ryan Bowman, we were talking about him as a footballer and raving about him prior to the bad rap that he got for the Rangers game.
Yeah, as far as Motherwell are concerned, it's got to be Motherwell that turn up. You know, we've seen it so many times when teams like Motherwell get to finals for whatever reason, they don't play to the level we all think they are. But I think this lot looked focused, obviously, in the back of beating Rangers. They're confident, they know they can go there with a style of play. They would upset anybody. I mean, they went up to Aberdeen and upset them. So it's not that they've got a style of play that people have difficulty, trying to overcome. And if they turn up and their defence play as well as they have, and certain other individuals play at a high level, and you've got Louis Moult and Bowman, they've got to have a chance. But Celtic have proved that throughout this run that they're on, that even when they're not playing well, they don't look as if they're getting beat. They might lose a goal and get a draw or something like that, but nobody, and in fact, I would go back to the first league game of the season. I think Motherwell was the only team that looked as if they were going to beat them. They were up something like 3-1 or something like that, and Celtic go back and won. So it's an on-the-day thing for me. That young boy Cadden, I think he's a big player. Louis Moult's a big player. Bowman's a big player. The defence and the goalkeeper, obviously. But I don't think this is a given. Celtic turning up and winning this.
The only thing that may affect them is it'll be a total different build-up in terms of the amount of media spotlight that they're under and all the stuff in the press. So that's the only thing that I think might affect Motherwell.
Right, okay. Well, we'll get these lads to give us their prediction before we finish the programme, and then we'll play it out on Monday's programme after it. After this, we're going to talk Rangers as well with Barry Ferguson, and we'll also talk more football. A year here and there, and we nearly had a point in the bag. 1956. There's a little story that caught my eye before we start getting on to some of the other issues that I want to get your thoughts on, lads. But there's a story caught my eye in the paper this morning, Ruffy, which shows the lighter side and the caring side of football. I don't know if you noticed it. The winger Ryan Colclough for Wigan scores 2, gets subbed, gets in the car, and gets there to the hospital just in time for the birth of his son. How good is that? That is magnificent. Well,
the first thing, he's very fortunate that he made it in time, because if you don't make it in time, you'll never ever live it down. So, yeah, it'd be a great day for him and his family. So, yeah, well done to him. And
what Barry doesn't know is you're speaking from experience. What happened, Rob? Tell Barry.
No, accidentally. It was an early morning run to the hospital in Rutherglen. Got there about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was to go in at the birth. But the doctor decided that at this precise moment in time, I should just sit outside for half an hour and then he gave me a shout. And just as I was sitting outside, the guy said that the Daily Record morning paper had just arrived downstairs. So I went down to buy one, and when I came back up, I was too late. The baby was born.
The bad books.
That's horrendous.
That is terrible. You haven't been caught short with that, have you?
No. In fact, my youngest daughter was born. I went back from Wishaw, back to the house to get a sleep. Margaret was up during the night, and it says, look, it's not going to happen probably until early morning, and I went back, fell asleep, and the phone says she's in labour, and I just got up. Cara was born, so I don't know, I need to ask him about that. I've not actually asked.
Yeah, it's a great little tale, and well done to the manager and everybody for realising. I suppose it helps if he scored a couple of goals.
I seen the picture, he was in his strip in the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely.
I seen that this morning.
It just shows you how times have changed, because I mean, a lot of players now, if they know obviously their wife's going to have a baby, the managers just don't play. You know, way back in the good old days, you know.
Must be on a goal bonus or something.
The good old days, if that was the case, you were playing whether you liked it or not, and that's just how things have moved on.
Yeah, absolutely. We never stopped talking about your team, Barry, and I think in a positive sense, the McCrory boys, it looks as if Rangers are trying to get them on a longer term deal, because clearly they've got tremendous potential, Ross and Robbie.
Yep. Ross certainly. I know Robbie's out. I think he's in Berwick Rangers in London, the goalkeeper. I've seen him a few times. He's a good goalkeeper. Ross has obviously come in and played a few games now. I just don't like people getting carried away saying that he's going to be an international player and he's going to be the next Rangers centre-half the next 15 years or whatever. Let the boy just bed himself in and let him play 40, 50 games, and then you can have an opinion. He's certainly got loads of potential for me, and he has got potential to be a proper Rangers player.
Well, was the weekend not a prime example of, you know, listen, some people, whatever they want to write, elevating, whether they're being prompted to write it or not. Was it not a perfect example of a boy who just has to go and learn by his mistakes? Yeah,
but what I liked about him once he made the mistake, he wasn't shy in taking the ball again.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I liked that about him. But certainly, listen, he's got loads of potential. I've seen him, but just let him play the game. Let him make a few mistakes. Maybe he might get brought out of the team in 3 or 4 weeks. Give him a bit of rest and bring him back in. But certainly, for me, he's got the potential to be a great Rangers player.
Yeah, you watch.
It's only potential.
Yeah. Well, that's the key to it. It's, you know, how many times have you seen the next big thing that's fallen by the wayside?
I've seen so many. I've seen so many people. The press like to build all the young boys up and just let them go and get 40 or 50 games, then judge them really. Because the boy is going to make a mistake. As I said, he made a mistake on Saturday. He just needs to learn for that. But what I will say is that I like the fact that he didn't hide. He went and wanted the ball, and that shows that he's got a good character about him.
Yeah. What about the team? You watched them lose to Hamilton Accies. You know, some people who might have suggested Graham Murty was in the running. I completely discounted that. Every day now we've got various bookmakers releasing other names that are potentially candidates for this manager's job.
First of all, it worries me with the team. I've seen a few of the players coming out during the week, last week in the build-up, at the Hamilton game, saying that we need to get this 3-0. I just don't get it. Rangers should be winning 8, 9, 10 games in a row. For me, it shows a lack of character, mental strength or whatever. I think in 2017, I looked it up, I've only won 6 home games. 2017, that is nowhere near good enough for a Rangers team, and a lot of the players need to have a good look at themselves.
Is it not just basically, if I'm being brutal about it, that by the time the next manager comes in, yet again a lot of those players won't be there? Yeah,
because the last manager was given a fair amount of money for Rangers standards over the last few years. I don't know what it was something like £9 or £10 million he's went and spent, and for me, not a lot of them have shown me that they should be at Rangers. So the previous manager's got a lot to blame. Graham Murty's come in. I kind of expected it against Hearts, but it was a good performance against Hearts. I expected him to beat Partick, but Saturday was a major disappointment for me. I really expected them to go, and I know they dominated the first half, and I know they had 3 or 4 chances, but it's not good enough, and that's not been disrespectful to Hamilton. Listen, Hamilton deserved it at the end of the day. They deserve to come away for Ibrox with the 3 points. Martin Cannon and his players deserve a round of applause for that. But listen, it's Rangers we're talking about, and I'll always say it, Rangers should be beating teams at Ibrox.
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works to you here, and Ruffy, you can give us your thoughts on it after Barry. I've spoken to a number of former Rangers players over the last couple of weeks, and I've reiterated something since the start of the season, never mind the manager. I think Rangers need yet again to look at someone to come in and take over the club with money. I genuinely feel unless they get investment, they are never going to catch Celtic. No, I think it needs either new board members or someone to come in and take over the club.
Everybody's in the dark, Peter, regarding the manager. Now that's 4 weeks tomorrow that Pedro Caixinha has been sacked. Now surely, I think personally he should have maybe have went before the Motherwell game, the build-up. I know he had a couple of all right results, but it's still. It wasn't a Rangers team I was watching. The players didn't look happy. They looked disorganised to me. The Motherwell game, they get beat. For me, Motherwell deserved it. And I'm thinking then, surely the board are looking and thinking, right, no, we might need to make a change here. We'll give them to Wednesday against, I think it was Kilmarnock, they were playing at home, they drew 1 each. Surely at that stage they're looking. Now correct me if I'm wrong here, they're looking maybe marking down 3, 4, 5 managers that they think that can come in and take the job. Surely that's the way a board would operate. So it's disappointing. I mean, a lot of fans, I speak to a lot of fans there, they're not happy because there's nothing coming out of the club. Nobody says a word. And bear in mind, you're coming up to January. You're coming up to a transfer window. It's important that we get some players in as well because the squad, the team's not good enough at this moment in time.
There's no smoke without fire, Ruffy. Now, you can spin it any way you want in the delay to wait and get the right man, but consistently in the background, I've said that Rangers fans must be looking and thinking, the silence is deafening. Well, surely somebody's got to come out and say, there's a game plan here, there's a forward-thinking plan, and there's a long-term investment which is coming, and it isn't forthcoming.
Yeah, but I've said it on numerous occasions, I don't think there has been a face of Rangers. There hasn't been somebody who goes up there. I mean, we had Caixinha who was up there, but we never really listened to much he said because it was all a bit up in the air. And since Ali McCoy's left, I mean, Ali was put up at every press conference and dealt with everything that was thrown in front of him, and he was the face. Now we're just hearing it a spokesman says. I mean, particularly at the weekend there was rumours that Alves had said he wasn't going to sit on the bench, you know. And there wasn't anybody come out and denied that. It was a spokesman said, you know, that's not the case. Now, why doesn't just somebody go out and tell the supporters what the story is?
There's no figurehead there.
No, that's what I'm saying. There is no, because obviously Dave King's away in South Africa, and there's nobody gets thrown up that the Rangers supporters can go, well, I actually believe what he's telling me.
They're lacking class. The full club. That's not the Rangers that I know. As you say, spokesman or spokesperson, somebody come out and face the music and let the fans know what's going on. Whether it be what the finances are all about, but the main thing now is the fans are wanting to know who they've got in their mind to be the next Rangers manager, because I tell you what, it needs to be the right guy. And I've said plenty of times, I think we've got 1 or 2 that are right on our doorstep. Derek McInnes, or even a Tommy Wright, or even Alec McLeish, an old manager, going to go out and get it sorted. Let Graham Murray go back to his 20s, and because we've got a transfer window coming up, and we need to get it sorted quickly.
Coming up after the break, we are going to switch our attention to other news, and of course, if you think Rangers have got problems, Aberdeen, Derek McInnes' story won't go away, and of course there's the small matter of that new stadium proposal. It was called a late run at the back post and a glancing header into the back of the net there, Ruffy. Simon and Garfunkel gave it away for me.
Did you get that, did you?
1970, yeah. You know it, boy. Okay, lots to talk about. We'll look back on tomorrow night's programme on Celtic's performance against Paris Saint-Germain in France. Here's the results from last night. A few that raised an eyebrow, almost certainly in the game I was watching, which was Seville 3, Liverpool 3, which just defied belief. Spartak Moscow and NK Maribor shared the points as well. Manchester City edging it against Feyenoord. Napoli with a good 3-0 win over Shakhtar Donetsk. Elsewhere it was 1-1 between Besiktas and Porto. Leipzig getting a good away win against Monaco. And Tottenham securing their place in the next phase with a 2-1 win against Borussia Dortmund. But the other one there is Apoel Nicosia 0, Real Madrid 6. Ronaldo is just... I wonder what he has to do to maybe change the majority's mindset that I still think they favour Messi as the ultimate player. This is a guy now who's broken another Champions League record. That's 18 goals in a calendar year. He is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been getting a bit of flack of late over in La Liga with some of his performances. Him and Benzema, but I've seen Benzema scored 2 as well. Yeah. I don't know how people can criticise the guy. The guy's unbelievable. What he's done in the game is phenomenal.
The strange thing about that club, and I love it, I've always looked back on it and look at their history. Even if you're winning, if you're not winning the right way, you get sacked. Sometimes if you win, you know, the ultimate prize, you get sacked. They're talking about Zidane now, 10 points behind in La Liga. He's won the Champions League twice. They're talking about him being under pressure. There's stories that won't go away that Ronaldo's going to be punted, and obviously one of the guys that's at the top of the list looks as if Bale could be on his way in the summer.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what happens when you're at a club who demands success, and I mean success every year, you know, just not every odd year. And unfortunately, the fans tend to take to a particular player and turn against him. And it's, for me, it's Gareth Bale just now, you know, and we know he's a wonderful player. So yeah, that's if you go to a club like that, that's the demands, and that's what you have to put up with.
Yep, Bale would be a great acquisition for someone in England, of course, if he can stay fit.
Yeah, it looks as if Man United are favourites to go and get him. I think he's another player that he's a fantastic player. I know he's had a few injury problems over the last year, 18 months, but I'd like to see somebody like him back on down the Premier League. Yeah,
Real Madrid win. You know, the one thing that will start to rear its head shortly is if all the English Premier League clubs start to get into quarters and semis. It happened one year, Ruffy, and I think Michel Platini and a number of people, the alarm bells are ringing. I think it's going to become a regular feature shortly because the money they have is just mind-blowing.
Well, particularly Man City, you know, they're proving it. You know, Guardiola took a year to settle in, then he started splashing the cash, and as we've seen with all the big teams, you know, if you start buying the best players, that's where you end up. But they've still to prove that they can go the whole distance. You know, I think that's when the alarm bells might go. I don't think there's any of them capable of doing it this year, maybe in a couple of years' time, but certainly they'll all be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Who did you pick to win the PSG?
Yes.
Yeah. Barry?
Real Madrid.
I think I picked Man City, am I right, Ruffy? Yeah. Picked Man City to win the Champions League, and I'm going to stick with it. You sticking with Real Madrid?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I like, a man 100% confident in his convictions. Okay, a couple other little things I want to get your thoughts on, lads, before we finish tonight. First of all, closer to home, Paul Lambert could be in with a shout at the Hull City job. It would be nice to see him get back in. He has been linked, of course, with the Scotland job as well. Rather inappropriate photograph we found of him with England in the background, but nevertheless, I think he's got something to offer. Sometimes managers just pick a club that's wrong for them.
Yeah. Listen, when Gordon Strachan left, I says I would like to have seen Paul Lambert become Scotland manager. Simple fact, he played a lot of games, he captained his country, and he's done pretty well in his managerial career. I know the last job didn't end well at Wolves. I don't know if Scotland come calling, and obviously it looks like Hull are interested in him. I don't know who would know who he would choose. I don't know whether he's wanting to go back into club football or take a Scotland job. But I would like. I know everybody's calling for Michael O'Neill, but I like to see a Scotsman take a job.
Yeah, and maybe we've all taken our eye off the ball on this one, Ruffy. Are we maybe looking and thinking to ourselves, well, wait a minute, what's plan B here if Michael O'Neill decides, I don't want the Scotland job?
Well, I heard an interview, I don't know where it was, with Paul Lambert, and Paul Lambert was practically 100% if Scotland came calling that he would speak to them, because as Barry said, he's Scottish through and through. And with the tone of his voice in this interview that I heard, I think he would take it. I think he's now at the stage where maybe, as we've just spoke about there, he's been at clubs where he's been a bit disillusioned by the owners and the way it's getting run, and maybe it is the time that he goes to the national, because I think, as Barry said, he's getting bags of experience, you know, abroad and here, and he'll know the players, which is always a start. So, no, in the interview I heard, I think if he was approached, he would definitely listen to what to be said.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolves debacle was just basically, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, Paul's the first to admit it, the last thing you want as a manager is to suddenly say, you're only working with this agent and he decides what players come in, you just coach them. That's us going down a road that I think a number of clubs have gone down, and I think that leaves a manager hopelessly exposed.
Yeah, I don't like to see that. I mean, I think if you're a manager of a football team, you decide and what players and what agencies or whoever you use, and obviously Paul Lambert wasn't having that, and fair play to him. Obviously he's had a chat with the chairman and they've decided to go their own separate ways, but I would like to see him in the Scotland dugout. I would.
Is it your choice, Ruffy? Who is your choice?
My choice was Alec McLeish, but obviously Alec he's got, well, I don't know if he's got a choice, but he's getting spoken about for both jobs, Rangers and Scotland. I don't think he would let anybody down in the either of the two of them. But I mean, again, it's sort of a dried up again. We used to get names getting thrown about all over the place, but now we're down to one or two for either jobs.
Yeah, my choice would be Paul Lambert.
I don't know with the SFA. Now they've got a bit of time since the Holland game. I think the next friendly's in March. So I would like to think come the new year, start of January, middle of January, the latest, we know who the Scotland manager is going to be. Yeah. But with the SFA, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think when you look at the experience and you think about the people he's worked with and his pedigree, you know, Otmar Hitzfeld, Champions League winner, you know, his period in Scotland, his managerial CV, as you mentioned there, I think he's got all the credentials that he could do a job at Scotland. He certainly has all the coaching badges and that different style of football as well. Whether he gets that nod or not, only time will tell. Just one thing, and it's probably a bonus that we don't have, Gordon Smith with us here. Niasse, the Everton player, has picked up a retrospective ban, Ruffy, for diving, which got Everton a penalty. It won't alter the penalty award, but he picks up a 2-game ban for it. Now England has kicked in and caught up with Scotland on this one.
Yeah, and I think you see it more than in England. I think if you watch much of the highlights on a Saturday night, you see a lot of players, you know, trying it on. So obviously they now have to be aware, because there can be nothing worse than being labelled, you know, a cheat. You know, and if you're going down all the time and getting these things happening to you, you know, it's fans turn against you and you struggle. See, on that occasion, that one there, I thought the boy actually put his arm across his chest.
Yeah, I thought
not enough to put him down. But I mean, we've seen it here.
I've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse.
I think there was one in the Chelsea Leicester way back where he just absolutely conned them for a penalty. But again, you mentioned that players, you know, will not want to get tagged with it. I don't think some players care. I think the end justifies the means.
I think if you ask any centre forward, see, as soon as they feel a touch, they're down in the box. They're down in the box.
The worst one for me is strikers getting in and goalkeepers diving and the boys just leaving their foot in. Yeah. You know, you can see it. You know, they're just dragging their feet against something.
You're in the goalkeepers union. You don't.
No,
like that,
I think it looks ridiculous. I think it looks silly if they get away with it.
Well, on that point, it's what you can get away with and let the referee make the decision. But this part of it, can have an effect on you not getting a regular game. You're 2 games out. He's going to have to sit it out. Barry, what are the players like if you see somebody who wins it, just briefly, if it wins the free kick for you, the penalty? Is there a different attitude, or do you get a wee bit miffed at it?
Oh no, I'm patting him in the back. If it's against you, it's the total opposite.
Just say, don't do that again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a couple of games.
Just in case you were thinking that Barry Ferguson was going to toe the party line, he's been in blistering form on the programme. Thanks to Barry for joining us on the programme. Tomorrow night we'll reflect on Celtic in France and Paris Saint-Germain. The big game is, of course, Anderlecht, December 5th. We'll continue our build-up and the look towards the Betfred Cup final on Sunday as well. From Ruffy, Barry and myself, thanks for watching. Good night.